Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Eye on the Ball here on 10:30 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera. Welcome to Friday, the final day of the week. You can go ahead and applaud right now. In with me today is...
Mr. Bryan Savic. Pleasure to be here again, Steve.
Again, you welcome back. Welcome back. You weren't dismissed after the first try. That's good. Someone to talk to, and now I still have Tom. He's my resident hockey guy.
Oh, okay.
We had hockey yesterday. But today, we're going to talk about, I hope to have a couple of guys call in. The Arizona Daily Star beat reporter for basketball, one of my colleagues, one of my competitors for a number of years. When I was at the Citizen for a number of years, Bruce Pascoe, who's at the Daily Star. He's been there forever. Well, not forever, but almost 20 years now. And I hope to have him call in. He's on the road, so let's see when he calls in, if he can call in. And then Anthony Gemino, a colleague of mine with All Sports Tucson and a lot of different things that we do together. I want to talk, if anybody wants to call in and feel miserable about this, the Illinois game with Arizona, that's Sunday.
Well, let's give them the phone number.
Wait, let me finish my statement, Mom. Hold on. The statement, the Illinois game, not so much Sunday, but the game from back in 2006 when everybody started to cry, the day that basketball ended kind of here in Tucson for a lot of people. They had that 15-point lead, 14-point lead in the final few minutes, and they lost to Illinois. They played them since. If I can remember correctly, they played them since and got some revenge, if you can get revenge like that. But if you remember your worst moment that day, that game, I'm hoping to talk to Anthony because we were together. We were sitting next to each other, actually, about that, and we had a lot of memories, a lot of crazy memories. So if you'd like to call, please do. We already got a caller, 790-2040. 790-2040, talk about that big game. And this year's team, Sunday's game with Illinois, it's on TV at 7 o'clock. A lot of things going on locally here, even though the football team, guess what will happen this weekend with the football team?
Yeah, they lost.
No. This weekend, what will happen with them?
Oh, what will happen?
They won't lose.
You don't think they'll lose?
They don't play.
Oh, yeah. Obviously.
You can't play. We got a call? John?
Yes, and will you go ahead and give out the phone number now?
I've said it 2 or 3 times already.
No, that's fine. I'd like to hear it again. You can never say it too much.
Get the producer on this. Oh, you are the producer, right?
790-2040.
Yes,
really,
that's
really,
like my
you can't
fifth
say it
time.
too much. All right.
Thank you, Tom.
Here you go, John.
Let's go to John. No, this call could scare me.
Tom, do you notice Steve likes to call people names?
Do I know? Oh, yes.
John, let me stop there,
I've
John.
noticed that a lot this afternoon. It's just one name after another, goof, silly,
Oh, yeah.
diva.
Are you a good diva? Yes, you are a diva. In fact, do you have any good jokes? Dad jokes? I'm sure you do. But let's not regress. John, why are you calling? To give me harassment?
No, I just enjoyed the first few minutes of the show, Steve, and I'm wondering what you think the chances of us winning any other football game this year are.
Any one? I would give it
any at all.
Yes, yeah, no. I less than 10%.
Well, take them a game at a time.
0%. 0%.
And even against Arizona State, you're going to say 0%?
There's your 10%. There's your 10%.
Okay.
Well, John,
So-
would you say, what would be your percentage, John?
I think they have a chance to win one, and you know which one it is, Steve. You're gonna laugh and call me names again.
Utah.
ASU.
Oh yeah, no. I think that's the most winnable game. And you've been here a long time and around long enough to know that game is always crazy.
I just think they're going to win it this year, and that means Sumlin gets another year.
Oh no. You mean to tell me if he doesn't win that it's over?
If they have a game like they had last year with ASU, I think the boosters will write a check.
No, I don't know if the boosters are tired of writing checks.
So you think that Sumlin may be on a warm, if not hot seat, John?
If he loses another ASU game like that one, where we had it won, yes.
Yeah, if he
loses especially if they have a lead and blow it, yeah.
If they lose it like the way you said it, yes, maybe. Firing, not so much. Is he on the hot seat? No. Is he on the warm seat? Of course.
I just wonder how many boosters they lost because of that ASU
Well,
game.
good question. And those are maybe some of the ones that would be writing a check there, John.
Maybe so.
And let me ask you, do you remember the game in 2006 with Illinois basketball?
That was another, we had it won, and then we lost it at the end.
Yes. Do you remember where you were and what you were feeling?
No, I don't remember that, Steve.
You don't?
No, I don't where I was when we lost a basketball game.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're a fan.
I remember when Max Zendejas kicked the three in Tempe to have Arizona beat ASU.
When was that?
That
What
was,
year was that?
82, 83, something like that.
Uh-huh. Why you remember that
Remember
one?
that?
No, I wasn't here. I got here in 87.
Okay. Why do I remember that one? I was living in Phoenix, and I just thought, once again, we had the game won, and Larry Smith stole the game away from us. At that time, I was an ASU fan because I lived up there.
Mm-hmm. Larry Smith stole the game away from you?
From the Sun Devils, yeah. I thought that was a brilliant play, a field goal at the end of the game, and the Zendejas brothers were always great at kicking field goals.
Let me ask you, because you're an occasional caller, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, what type of fan are you? Five. So you're, well, kind of as you should be, given the profession you're in. True. Are you a UA grad?
No.
No. Okay. So you have no really emotional dog in the fight.
Well, you don't either.
No, I don't, and that's why I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of sports at all.
So, John, are you more of a fair weather fan than a faithful fan? Since you characterize you as a 5 out of 10, I guess.
Every year, though, I have hope for the team, but this year, this football team I just didn't have any hope. Usually I have fresh, renewed hope, just like springtime, Tom.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But this year, no.
John, I think that you're typical of the fans now, here, today, because there was not a whole lot of fanfare going into this season. There's definitely not a whole lot of fanfare right now. Don't you feel that?
I just think we're going to beat ASU, but I don't think we'll win another game.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that could account for the down feeling of the fans for the football team, for the renewed energy we saw in the basketball game against NAU. I mean, the fans were getting into that like they used to.
No, they still had 2,000 seats, not full.
I know, but they were very vocal. They were getting more so than I've heard recently.
I don't. Last year they were horrible.
That's what I mean.
Last year they were just bad. You don't cheer for a bad team.
Yeah, the Zona Zoo.
Zona Zoo's overrated.
It's
overrated.
They didn't do much.
It's overrated. A lot of the seats were missing. It's overrated.
How many people attended last week's football game?
They announced 36. I was about.
You believe that?
No, of course not. I thought maybe less than 30.
How do they get away with that?
Tickets
how
sold.
Is that done?
Tickets sold. Tickets allotted. People not showing up with those tickets that have already been purchased.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. If that makes any sense. So.
Well, as long as someone pays for it,
right,
they don't have to show up.
Right, exactly, and that's what they do. John, always good to talk to you. Thanks for calling in. I'll call you John, and that's the only name I'll use today.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Not little John, not old John.
That's
John.
talking. That's top talking. Thank you, John. Appreciate you calling in. I'll see you soon. I guess he hung up. I'm not too sure. I didn't hear him hang up.
No, he's still there.
Oh, is he? Okay. Well, John, take care. We'll see you soon. Again, we've got to take a break here on 1030 The Voice. Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm your host, Steve Rivera. So, you were at the game?
I was in attendance. Unfortunately,
not basketball, football, right?
Football, yeah.
Football, right? So, what did you make? Because that's probably one of your first games. How many games have you been to?
That was actually my second game. I went to the UCLA game.
That was a little bit. They won, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely like the defense's like best performance like by far.
Yeah, and and UCLA's kind of caught fire since then. Well, played better, I should say.
Yeah.
So, what do you make of the local crowd or the local fan base. You're from Miami,
Yeah,
Miami, Florida, not Miami, Arizona.
exactly.
No, because there's a Miami, Arizona.
Yeah, somebody told me that. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I
It's-
was so confused. I'm like, are you talking about like Florida or like?
Yeah, no, it's as big as this room here. But what do you make of the fan base?
Of University Arizona football.
Yeah, yeah. Arizona football and then Arizona.
Like, Arizona football almost feels like a dying breed. I mean, it's like there's like really like no interest whatsoever.
Mhm.
It seems like they always get put or like slid like under the rug. Like once basketball comes.
That happens a lot.
yeah.
Yes. And this
It's
is
like-
your first year, and that's what you got to
Exactly,
say.
yeah. And like the whole like focal point gets shifted to the basketball team once they come around, and it's like
It's been that way for years.
exactly.
and
I still feel like it would be that way even if the team was like
really good.
yeah. I still feel
Yeah, I think that there's only been like a handful of times that it hasn't been.
yeah.
Like 98, 2014, 15, maybe 90s, whatever, because they've always looked forward to basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But football, they hang on to as long as they can. If they're winning, they hang on until they can't,
Oh yeah.
because they always try to get to that Rose Bowl, and that hasn't happened. And they just want to continue to win, and that doesn't happen very often.
No.
So, yeah. What about basketball? You did not go to the game.
I didn't go to the game, but
You watched it.
I watched it. Yeah, somebody posted it on like
So,
on a website or something.
so what did you see? What did you like?
Oh man, I'll tell you what. The thing that really stood out to me, Nanji.
Of course,
Like
yeah.
he was just like very impressive, like in the paint, like this physical presence. Man, like he's just like getting rebounds left and right. Really good scorer in the post.
Does it matter? Do you play ball? Did you play ball?
I played ball. Yeah.
What kind of ball?
Just like Parks and Rec in like middle school, like
Oh yeah, so
basketball.
he's not like a little high school, little lower.
No, I
So
didn't.
my point would have been, does playing inferior opponents matter when you play a game and you look really good?
Not really. I mean, I was talking about it with some buddies. Like, Arizona looked really good, but like it's against a team that's not even like nationally recognized or
Right,
like considered like a top 25 team.
So
And
what
it's
do you
like-
make of that?
I think it's kind of like people are going to overlook it for sure.
Or think too much of it?
Yeah, I think they might think too much of it. I think it could be a little bit of like an overreaction of like what this team is capable of. I mean, I think
right.
I think
right.
don't get me wrong, like they have a lot of talent, like especially like the freshman
Of
class
course,
that just
yeah,
came
of
in,
course.
and good coaching as always. But I mean, we'll see. Like once they start playing like more quality opponents, like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Sunday will be
Coming up, yeah.
a nice little test. I know
good
it's here.
barometer to where like the team is at
Mhm,
currently.
mhm.
So
And we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's NAU is NAU. I think the last few games they've averaged 42 points in beating them.
yeah,
So it was no different.
exactly.
So you can't really gauge the success of what's going to happen or how good you really are.
Yeah,
And Najee had a great game,
he did
but there was nobody that could match him
exactly.
or any of the others.
Yeah,
So how do you gauge? You don't. You're just happy that you played well, you played together,
Yeah.
look good, and guess what? You move on.
yeah. I mean, I felt it was just like the right step, and like
Oh yeah. Beats the alternative.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's NAU. Like we did the same thing to them in football, and look what happened. Like
Exactly.
Yeah,
No. And that's a great analogy because
Yeah.
that's exactly the right thing. Tonight, I know that my guy here, Tom, pays attention to this. The women's basketball team plays tonight, too. They play Santa Clara. Who do they play tonight? Yeah. So game 2 for them should be fun. I think if you go to a game, you need to go watch them
really,
because they're fun. In fact, I hadn't watched a game in a long time. I went last year to the NIT playoffs, and the atmosphere is completely different than the men's game. It's actually fun. Yeah, Arizona. Tom was saying it was a good reaction this Saturday, whenever it was last week, and I'm thinking, okay, it was better. It was better than last year because last year they didn't have much to cheer about.
Mhm.
But the women's game and the men's game are totally different in terms of attendance
Mhm.
and clientele, and you're allowed to you're allowed to scream in both sides, but it was just different. It's a different atmosphere.
Mhm.
So, if you have a chance, go see the women's
Oh,
game.
absolutely.
Good coach, a lot of excitement going on.
You know what the men's basketball team opponent for Sunday is doing tonight?
They are playing tonight?
Yeah,
Oh, Grand Canyon.
they're at Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
They're already in Arizona.
Yeah, no. In fact, Bruce Pascoe was headed to that game. That's why he was going to go watch it. Makes sense now. They play at 8, don't they? Or they play at 7? They play at 7?
That was Central Time, so I don't know.
No, couldn't be.
It's coming up. So you're probably right.
Couldn't be because over Central Time it's 5 o'clock.
So
here.
So it'd be 7 Mountain Time, 8
Yes.
Central Time. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So that's good. Maybe he'll call me from there. It's 7 o'clock here this time. So in about 35 minutes. That makes sense because they'll be playing. They're sticking around for a couple of games. You were too young to remember that Illinois game. You didn't even know about it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even much like an avid like college like basketball like viewer, honestly, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start really watching college basketball till like a year later, like in 07.
Oh, really?
I would say
because
since being from Florida, like I was always a big like Florida Gator fan.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was
yeah. That's when they had Billy Donovan.
Exactly. That was like the golden era for like Florida basketball. Like 06, 07 back to back national titles.
Right.
But the whole state of Florida is kind of like Arizona when it comes to are you a football fan or a basketball fan?
Yeah.
Most everybody is following high school and college football.
Sure. No, it's a big deal.
Oh,
it's a big deal. No, Florida is not so good anymore. Basketball, they're okay with it. Florida State's gotten a little bit better.
I think Florida might have received like too much hype, or like in terms of preseason ranking.
Florida,
like they gave him
Florida State.
Florida.
Okay.
They gave him a number 8 ranking, which I'm not sure if that's like kind of a stretch, but I hope they surprise me because like I'm still a fan of the.
Oh, are you of the Gators?
Yeah, I'm still a fan of them.
You're kind of far from there, weren't you? They're in
Gainesville from Miami. It's about like 4.5 hour drive.
I guess if you're going to have to pick a team, that would be the team to be.
Yeah.
Although Miami's pretty good now under their recent coach, a guy who was in trouble too with the NCAA.
Oh yeah.
Larinaga. Yeah. And then that one Central. What was that one school where the coach at USC is now? He used to be. He came up with some big wins out in Florida. Gulf Coast.
Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah. How they won in the tournament a few years back.
Oh yeah, they had like that. They're like stealing headlines of the high flying like fast break offense.
Right. Now he's
like
Nick
Saban's former offensive coordinator.
No. We're talking basketball.
Which school are you talking about?
We're talking basketball.
Oh, okay.
We're talking basketball.
Okay.
He's now at
You're not talking about Florida Atlantic. All right.
No. I was about to say.
No. So now that coach is at USC. But well, you're still young. I have T-shirts older than you. That's not good.
Wow.
No, wow, I'm really older than you, like 30.
I
collect those things. It's dust rags, as my mom would say. But I assume you're going to go. You're not going to go Sunday, probably. You're not a Zoo guy, are you?
Zoo guy? No. I don't know. My friends are trying to get me into it. So I mean, we'll see. Like, there's still time.
There's plenty of time for you to kind of get acclimated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Into the world of athletics here. Tom, I know you're not going, but what are you hoping to see this weekend? Another win?
Well, more of what we saw against NAU, and I know NAU is not that competitive, so they had an opportunity to work on some things that maybe they wouldn't have been able to against a more competitive team. I'm hoping to see them just keep on the direction that they showed they were going in. Where we're not playing half-court offenses looking to the coach for him to tell you what the play is going to be.
Yeah, and they didn't do that often.
They didn't do that.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
I had never seen that before with Miller, so that was great.
It's funny. I was at a barbershop today, and that's kind of what they were talking about, how refreshing it was to see what they looked like and how they played, because you typically don't get to see that.
Yeah. Let the guards survey the field and get a play going.
Yeah, trust your guards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay, well, let's take a quick break here at the half-hour mark. Come back on the other side here on 1030 The Voice. Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera. Welcome to the show. In with me is Mr. Bryan Savic.
Correct, Savic.
I want to make sure I say that last name. My second go around here. What do you think of Tucson?
Tucson?
It ain't Miami.
Yeah, it's not Miami. I mean, it's different. Like, The people are definitely a lot nicer. You know, people in Miami just notorious for being like super rude and just like being so self-centered and like just very materialistic. I don't really get that out here. I don't
No.
get that sense.
No.
It feels like this is more like a congruent, more tight-knit community.
Mm-hmm. Congruent.
Yeah.
Could you Google that word for me there? Congruent.
You're the wordsmith. All I do is push buttons.
I'll use that in a sentence later.
Yeah,
Tucson is congruent.
I felt like this is welcoming. Like
Oh yeah, it is.
like
It's one of the friendliest places around.
mhm.
It's very giving and charity-wise, things like that. Does a lot of things like that. It's like if you meet somebody, they're usually not from here; they're from somewhere else.
Exactly.
And the natives, of course, are very good, are very nice. And if you've been here 5 years, you're native enough. I've been here 30, and I'm not from Tucson, but
Wow.
it's home to me, obviously.
Mhm.
I think my boy Tom got here in the early 70s, 80s. When did you get here, Tom?
Well, no, my folks moved here in the 70s. Well, let's see, around 82.
82, and you moved back.
And I stayed in Alaska. Well, my dad had long since left Alaska and gone to California.
Uh-huh.
And so that part of the family, the rest of the family except me was in California, and I was in Alaska.
Wouldn't you agree with Mr. Bryan on the friendliness of Tucson?
Yeah, it's sort of more of a small town feel to it, even though it's a city of 1 million.
Yeah, to me, it's like I don't know if you know this reference. I know that Tom will. It's like Mayberry that wants to be Raleigh, but can't be Raleigh because it's always going to be Mayberry.
Tucson RFD.
Yeah, you don't know what I'm talking about, do you, Brian?
Yeah, I have no idea. But actually,
But you do, Tom, right?
Yeah.
Please tell me.
So if we're more like a Midwest town, except we don't have a plaza with a church in the middle.
That's true. We don't. We have Armory Park.
we have the Western style shopping malls and shopping centers.
Yeah. Mayberry RFD was a TV show. Way probably way before your dad too.
Where were they set in? South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah, and Raleigh was the big city, and everyone would want to go to a big city. It's like us in Phoenix. We like being the small city, but we're not. We're not small really, but we want to be the big city, but we're not. We don't know who we are. I'm kind of curious. How in the world did you throw like a dart, and wherever it landed, you came to school?
I mean, like, I got like this offer in the mail, because like they're recognizing like my academic excellence or performance, whatever you want to call it, and they gave me this nice scholarship
Sure,
award,
take advantage of
and
it.
I was like, yeah, you know what, Arizona seems like a cool school to go to. And I'll be honest with you, like, I would say even like 5-6 months ago, I would have never thought that I'd ever come here.
Mhm.
Like, it didn't even like
Hit the radar.
yeah, and it's like it
So-
never even occurred to me.
So
no.
had you been here before? No, probably.
No, I've never been to
So
Tucson.
you drove in, correct?
Yeah, I drove in.
How was that?
Well, you see, I was living in like Colorado at the time.
Oh, were you?
So yeah, well, it wasn't too bad,
Okay.
but still, it's still kind of like a.
Where in Colorado?
It's a town called Pueblo.
Oh yeah. We talked about
Yeah.
this. Yeah, that school. Just south Colorado.
South Colorado Springs. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I have some know some people back there because I grew up in northern New Mexico. So
well.
it's not too far. Maybe
Exactly.
4 or 5 hours en route to Denver
Yeah.
as you go. Up that road 25.
It's a beautiful drive, though. I'll tell you
It
what.
is a beautiful
Yeah.
drive. It is, especially this summer
Oh, absolutely.
because it's not cold. I hate
Yeah.
cold weather.
I know. Same.
Yeah. Alaska. How long were you in Alaska, Tom?
How long was I in
Yeah.
Alaska? A little over 30 years, about
Wow.
30,
So
33
you're
years.
extreming it. One extreme to the other.
Yeah, well, I mean, being an Air Force brat,
Oh,
we,
yeah, that's
we
true.
moved around a lot. So
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of weather extremes.
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to call in, please do 790-2040. Want to talk about this game this weekend, 1 and 2, the game from 13 years ago when Arizona played Illinois. I know no one wants to really talk about that, but I was watching it again today, and just recently actually, and it's just bizarre. It was bizarre. I was hoping Anthony calls me. I know he's kind of on deadline with a lot of different things, and how they had a 14, 15-point lead with about 4 minutes left. Excuse me, and
At what point in the playoffs were they?
was Elite
Were they
Eight.
in the Elite Eight?
Yeah, they was
Okay.
and it was funny because, or funny is not the right word, ironic or whatever. They just needed one stop, and it would have been the difference. It could have just easily been the difference, and they just couldn't get that one stop. I mean, the ball fell perfectly for Illinois for 4 minutes, and Arizona could not do anything. And then in the overtime, they beat them in the overtime, and Arizona had a chance to win it in overtime, and there was no true attempt to win it from the three-point line. It was just like everything that went well for 35 minutes went well for Arizona. Had a big... I know that Anthony and I were already looking for Final Four arrangements to get to the Final Four. It would have been probably Lute's last time, his last hurrah, get there. You know, he would have been at the time the oldest coach to get to a Final Four. I think he was 72 at the time.
Wow.
And just it wasn't meant to be. Do you believe in destiny?
I
know you were just a kid. So.
do, like, in a way. Like, I feel like if
Either you do or you don't, there, senor.
I do, honestly. I think, like, a team, you know, like that, it reminds me of, like, that 83 NCAA state team with that coach.
Oh, North Carolina State.
Yeah, North Carolina State.
Yeah. Jim Valvano.
Yeah. Like, they just seem destined to
I
go all the
remember
way.
back then. I don't remember yesterday. Yeah, so Jim Valvano, 83. They played in Albuquerque. That's one of the reasons why I remember.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Who'd they beat?
I know they beat the incredible Houston team.
Houston team.
Olajuwon.
Phi Slamajama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Olajuwon Drexler. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's still considered one of the greatest upsets in the
Mhm.
college
Yes,
to college game.
very much so. How do you remember this stuff? You weren't even born.
I mean, you know, I do some research, some digging.
Wow,
like-
you're a young kid who does that.
yeah.
Because everyone would say it was before my time. I don't remember.
You've got yourself a good intern and didn't know it.
Yeah, well, some of the good stuff
I
he
mean,
remembers.
Well, give ESPN some credit.
yeah, played the 30
That
on
was a
30.
great 30 for 30
yeah,
documentary that they did covering
Sure.
the entire team.
of course it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
because some guys have already passed.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite 30
Yeah.
for 30 clip.
Yeah, the guy who dunked it, I can't remember his name. I think he's passed.
Oh, really?
I think a couple of key I can't remember. There's been some key players that have passed.
Yeah.
Because from that documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously Valvano has passed.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember what was really cool. Like, they had, like, kind of like this reunion, like, I think, like, 30 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they just sat in, like, a restaurant on this big table. And I remember particularly, like, one guy, he would just start, like, kind of, like, going at Michael Jordan, saying, like, yeah, he wasn't Michael Jordan at that time. You know,
Right.
I held my own against him. Like, he was nothing, you know, just talking all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
No, that was fun to watch.
Glad that you almost cut your word here. Yeah, on the radio. I catch myself all the time.
So how about the farthest
The farthest
Sean Miller team has gotten?
Elite Eight. Elite Eight.
Was it the Elite Eight that they lost to
Wisconsin.
Duke last second with Jordan? What's his face missing the shot?
No, it wasn't Jordan. It was my guy. The name will come to me, but he's had three
Wasn't
chances.
Solomon Hill?
No. It was
Derek.
Jamal Horn.
Jamal. Yeah.
Jamal Horn. That one they came close to. They lost to Wisconsin with the Johnson last second miss from Johnson. You know Johnson. They had a chance to win there when the ball kind of trickled off the rim, and then again a year later when they lost to Wisconsin, bigger obviously. So he's been there 3 times.
Help me remember the game against Duke. Did they win the game against Duke?
They killed Duke.
And they lost to Wisconsin.
They lost to Connecticut.
Or Connecticut.
The eventual champion.
The eventual champion. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, and they had that game played well too. They had just gone on this crazy run with Derek Williams and did really well. So they have it in them, you know, and they played really well because
is that the only time they've got to the Elite Eight under Sean?
No, 3 times. 3 times. I said the Wisconsin 2 times with Wisconsin, and that time with that when they beat Duke. And
Yeah.
no one thought they'd beat Duke, and they crushed Duke.
Yeah.
Derek Williams was unbelievable.
Yep.
Anybody wants to call in, please do 790-2040. In fact, somebody talked about the best teams on Twitter. I think it was yesterday, and I haven't really talked about this in a long time. The best teams to ever play at Arizona. There's like a list of 5 or 6. 88 was one. 2001 was one. 98, 97, 2013, and there's some others sprinkled in there. But you know, obviously 97 won it all.
Mm.
So everyone says, well, 97, of course. To me, it was 2001.
How many of the guys on the 98 team were on the 97 team?
Everybody came back.
So
On the 98 team?
the 90, yeah.
Everybody came back.
Weren't they thinking that they were going to repeat?
Yes, that was the whole thing. They had this big marketing plan called DOS, DOS,
Yeah.
and it failed in the Elite Eight. They lost to Utah. It was a crushing blow, in fact. A lot to that story. Of the Bucks and the Triangle and Two and blah, blah, blah. Andre Miller and the rest of those guys. Let's take a quick break before we go overtime here. You're listening to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm your host, Steve Rivera. We'll be back. Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera. We have about 10 minutes left. What's the best team you ever seen there, Mr. Bryan? Best team.
Best team in general?
Yeah.
Like in all sports?
All sports.
I would have to say, going back like as like a 5-year-old. Yeah, man. When like football was like really relevant in University of Miami, like that was back when they had like 30, 40 like draft picks.
Was that under
one
Erickson?
team.
Was Erickson the coach? When they were kind of crazy. I was going to say another word, but they were kind of crazy. They did that. They did a 30-30.
Yeah,
on that
exactly.
What year was this?
2001, I believe. They're considered one of the greatest
When
college
was
football
Jimmy
teams.
Johnson coaching?
That was back in the
80s.
80s. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
Those
so.
are some pretty good Miami
Oh yeah,
teams.
yeah. But this one was like a bunch of, they call them the criminals.
In my lifetime, yeah, like we got this like undeserved, I guess, like reputation for being like the bad boys or like the criminals.
Oh, they lived it
Kind of
up
like
too.
back in like the late 80s with the Pistons, you know, this
Yeah.
like bad boy persona, and they embraced it too. So
Yeah,
it's not like they were hiding away from it.
Yeah,
Was that
I
under
know.
Erickson?
I think so. I want to say so. Or the other guy with the beard, with the mustache. Schembeck.
I know
like
what
that.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Have you Googled
But I
it?
didn't think his teams had that reputation.
Yeah, no, they had it. It was pretty bad.
They
it was
still
pretty,
did, yeah.
What's that? Schembeckler, some blah, 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 blah.
But the 80s, it was much more heightened.
Oh, yeah, sure.
definitely.
And then there was like the Death Row, the music with those guys, not Death Row, but it was the music back those days. In fact, because how do I know?
I know what you mean. Like, are you talking about like the rap?
Yeah,
Like-
the rap.
Oh,
it was
okay,
the
rap
guy-
industry. Yeah.
It was back there. Miami kind of embraced it and whatever. It'll come to me eventually. So that was back. You were just a 5-year-old.
Yeah. I don't know, like some reason, like I'm vividly like able to remember that.
Yeah. Welcome to my world. I remember way back before I remember yesterday. Tom, the best team you've ever seen?
Well,
Howard Schnellenberger. That was it.
When we talked about this before, I was thinking of the 70s Steelers,
Oh yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah.
But probably me, even though I'm a Raider fan, I probably would go with a couple of the 70 Steeler teams.
Yeah, those were good.
But when Urban Meyer was coaching the Gators,
Mhm.
they had some pretty dominant college teams.
Why did you pay attention to that? Why would you?
Because I'm an ex-University of Florida Gator.
Oh, okay, that's what-
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
I'm still a fan of the Gators, even though I'm a fan of the Wildcats too.
Same. Like I'm still like a fan of the Gators, but like my allegiance is more like University of Miami.
Was Butch Davis the coach of the Miami Hurricanes at the time when they were having those?
No, they weren't any good. They weren't. It was Erickson or Jimmy. It was Erickson. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
it was Erickson.
Schellenberger is the guy that you were trying to remember.
I just
and
said
he
it.
was before Jimmy
Oh,
Johnson.
You know what? I know there was Mike Shannon came like right
Randy,
after.
Randy Shannon.
Randy Shannon. I'm sorry, Randy Shannon.
Yeah.
He came in like 2003, 4 or something. 7.
Yeah.
Oh, was it 7?
Google's fun.
I thought it was-
Google's fun.
I thought it was earlier than that.
No.
I could have sworn.
No. They've had a
Yeah.
lot of coaches in the last few years
Yeah.
trying to rekindle that magic.
absolutely.
Arizona's had since Tomey 20 years. We talked about this with Greg Hansen on Monday, which I thought was a very good show. In fact, I'll probably replay that at some point. They had Mike Stoops, Makovic, Mike Stoops, Rich Rod, and now Sumlin. 4 dudes in 20 years,
Wow.
and the magic can't be found. There's not the right magic. Maybe some guy will find it. Maybe Sumlin will find it, catch it in a bottle. Who knows? He has very little time. Not little time. He has a lot of time left. whether people are patient with him and attendance gets better or whatever. And we'll see.
Well, do you think the team's going to have to start winning some games before that happens?
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
Will they? That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
They may not win another one. We talked about that earlier this show. It might have to be next year. I mean, you saw when I had Hansen on Monday. You weren't here when we did the Hansen story. Arizona has won the fewest games in the last 20 years since Tomey left in the Pac-10, Pac-12.
Well, all right, let's give Sumlin a little bit of slack. This is only his second season, full season, really, when you think about it, as head coach. So next year is the year that no more excuses, coach. This is the 2021 season is when you got to start showing what you got.
Yeah, and then people will say, well, you got to give him another year because his recruiting class is going to be there more. Yada, yada.
Yeah, but this is going to be his first recruiting class. It's going to be more of his players.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's a chicken and the egg thing. How much time do you give him and how much do you don't give him? You know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. I think attendance and apathy and where you go from this and who could they get and where do you go from here? They're still paying Rich Rod whatever they owed him, $6 million. And now they have to pay someone if they do decide. They're not going to do that. That's extreme. You know, pay $7.5 million, $10 million, whatever it is. It's a lot of money, even for a place that's perceived to have money.
And they haven't even talked about a likely successor.
No, and they wouldn't. Of course, they wouldn't right now. In fact, you were talking to me earlier. What are they going to do with a defensive coordinator? It's going to be a while. It's going to be probably mid-December before that's decided, because one, they might have the guy right now, and his name is Chuck Cecil. Brings a name to the program. He's good at what he does. He just doesn't have the right players right now.
He'll have 3 games to show us if his way is going to produce in the future.
Right. But again, he doesn't have the players. So if you don't have the players...
I know, but if he's got some good ideas, we're bound to see something.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and I think that'll help.
So, good approach.
Right.
And a rapport with the other coaches, et cetera.
But when you would ask me, I think it's way too early to say. 2 weeks in, that was everyone thought that there'd be an emotional boost because of it. Didn't happen. Now they go on the road against some of the best teams in the conference. The problem with it, everybody else is getting better in the conference, and Arizona is not. That's the scary part.
There's one thing this season, even though there have been some injuries, Arizona hasn't had the kind of number of injuries and successive injuries that they've had in the last 3 or 4 seasons. Right.
And that stunted their growth over the last couple of years with Tate and with Johnson
and the linemen, especially.
Sure.
Offensive line and defense.
They're just not good enough right now. They're just not good enough. Young, not talented enough.
I just think that they just need better recruiting classes, overall, especially on the defensive side. They're really, I think, on the defensive line, especially, they're just lacking size and athleticism.
Yeah, that's
and
easy. Yes, you're right. But let me tell you, it's easier said than done. And you're here. You see them. They're not.
They have done a little better with size on the defensive line and getting to the quarterback. Sometimes a little bit better than they did last season.
I still think it's really inconsistent from what I've seen.
Size and all that, good for you. But if you're not good enough, you're not good enough.
It's you have to finish the play, no matter what.
Right.
Right. No excuses.
Exactly. We'll see. More power to him. I know you. Before we started the show, my boy Tom was giving me grief about me being a Debbie Downer. No, but I'm okay with that. You weren't. I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm not going to blow smoke because what's the point on the show to well, Steve said they were going to be good. In fact, I got the email in August when one of the listeners said to me, "Why are you so down? They're going to be okay. They're going to be okay." I never got another email since. Sorry.
All right.
To say.
Well, we're all keeping our fingers crossed that they can maybe pull off one victory out of the remaining 3.
Well, if they get one, they're still not going to a bowl.
No,
and that's fine.
They're not going to
I
a bowl.
think
We
those
understand
bowl,
that. We
the bowl-
understand that.
The bowl thing is just kind of overhyped and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Because bowl. Okay, so you go to the Cheesehead Bowl. Okay,
But if they bring the Territorial Cup back to Tucson,
that'll help.
that'll
Yes.
give us something to
Look forward to.
feel good about.
Especially like John said earlier, because that was such a downer last year, like a big time
Oh
downer.
yeah.
That it was like, what just hit me, like blow to the gut. So.
And also, like John said, the game between Arizona and Arizona State, the Territorial Cup game, anything can happen.
Sure. Yeah. I said that.
Was
I've
that
seen-
the, okay? Well,
That was
all
me.
right.
Because I've seen it. It's
Steve
happened
said
too many,
that.
It's happened too many times.
Yes, we've seen that.
We
Yeah.
say just in weird ways. In weird,
Yeah.
sometimes the better team doesn't win, and I think this year that's going to be hopeful for Arizona.
But I think with like Arizona, like just to find like any like silver lining,
Yeah.
and like these last 3 games, like I think their bowl game would be against Utah, because like
No, it'll be
Just
ASU.
just a do you think it'd be ASU?
Oh, it'll be everything will be ASU.
But
yeah.
I just think like because I know like their odds of beating like a Utah team that's
Not
on the cusp of like entering the college football playoff, perhaps like if they upset them, that'd be wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good luck
national
with
news. Yeah,
Good
it's
luck
not
with
gonna
that
happen.
research. Good luck. Hey, thanks for coming in today, Brian.
Great,
Well,
thank you.
We'll see
Appreciate
you guys. Thanks everybody
Pleasure
for the week.
being here. Thank you.
The Rivera hostage situation is now officially over. Talk to you guys next week.